let us talk about realism and naturalism. Realism is a broader term, and naturalism is part of an extreme strain of realism. The basic question is, what is realism? What is naturalism? The answer is that it is an important art movement, it is an important literary movement, it's an important scientific movement also. Late 19th century saw tremendous rise in realism and naturalism, and it still affects our thinking, it still affects our psychology, it still affects our literature, our understanding of the world as a whole. After Charles Darwin, the world was not the same. Prior to that, people thought how this world is created, it's some divine forces, or there were some very enchanting stories. Charles Darwin and the theory of evolution had tremendous impact on human thinking. And late 19th century, the part of this larger movement came to literature. Emile Zola, the person who influenced our T.S. Eliot so much, he started it in literature by a very conscious rejection of romanticism. They said, the naturalists, the realists said that literature ought to describe things as they are, just as they are. No fantasizing, no romanticizing. We just want literature as life is. Faulkner, you see, 1930, Faulkner also wrote realistic novels. So it's a very conscious rejection of romanticism. It is about determinism, it is about detachment, it is about scientific objectivism, it is about social commentary. It is about commenting on the society just as it is. It is about the rise of scientific literature. That it's not also romantic and it's not also imaginative. Nature, fate, heredity, these are the things, local flavors, regionalism, these are the things that shape literature, and these are the things that we should study in literature. So that was a very powerful movement, and it still is, that you describe middle class, lower class in literature just as they are. No more literature about elitism, elite class, or you see, about kings and queens and gods and demigods. No. Literature came to the common man. Balzac, Flaubert, these were the people, you see. In America, Mark Twain, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, we like so much. Stephen Crane, war novel. There is so much romanticizing around war, but war is a horrible reality. A war has horrible aftermath. And Stephen Crane was someone to take up that subject. And in Britain, we have T.S. Eliot, Middlemarch, 1871. So very strong, late 19th century onwards, we have this very strong realist, naturalist movement in literature. And it is, you can say, a democratization of literature, democratization of art, democratization of scientific studies, a huge paradigm shift in the society. That it is okay to be normal. It is okay to describe things as they are. It is okay to experience common sentiments, common feelings. It is just okay to be imperfect. It is just okay to be human. So that is the way realism and naturalism flourished in literature. We have several types of realism. Magic realism, where the boundary between real and magic is blurred. Again, you see, we have a romantic strain of realism in magic realism, and who can forget 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He immortalized magic realism. You do not know where reality ends and where magic starts. And we have Salman Rushdie, we have our J.K. Rowling, so many of them now writing magic realism. Then we have social realism, working class, describing the Victor Hugo was the first person, 1862, who wrote about the working class, people who live by their toil, by their sweat. They got a place in literature. Then we have psychological realism. Psychological realism is all about psychological realities. Psychological realities are more real than the real. You see, crime and punishment. Crime and punishment, where Dostoevsky is, as we all know, immortal. 1866 he wrote, and how a boy wants to kill someone and take the money, and once he does it, how the guilt haunts him, and it haunts him like hell. So you see, a crime has to be recognized. Scarlet Letter also, I have spoken of Scarlet Letter earlier also. It's one of my favorite novels, where you see psychological depths of a human being are described threadbare, openly. That guilt and sin and mistakes and all hidden desires have to find an outlet. Somehow or the other, these things have to come out. So psychological novel, a powerful, very powerful genre of realism, of realistic novel. So you can say that literature and literary philosophy, literary criticism and literary interpretation came out from the palaces. It came out from forts, it came out from fairy tales, it came to the streets. Naturalism and realism brought literature close to people. And one thing very important about literary theory is that all theories are running simultaneously. Nothing is dead. Nothing is dead. New criticism lives in its own way. You see, formalism lives in its own. It has contributed to literary studies in a permanent manner. So all theories and all strands are running simultaneously. When we write literature, when we interpret literature, these theories, it's not that it is some isolated approach. Different approaches come to our aid. We use them. This is permanent human insight which we can apply to art, to literature and to human experience in general. So naturalism and realism needs an in-depth study the genre, the novels, the theory, the articles propounding all these ideas need to be studied in detail. The best part is that it brought literature close to public, content also as well as readership. So this is about realism and naturalism. Thank you so much.